Okay, we're recording.
Hey,
Hey,
Ryan, what's going on, man?
you know what I thought of as I'm sitting here at this table?
Yes.
We got one of these 8-foot tables sitting here. Do you remember?
Can you pass the salt?
Yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking
yeah,
of.
really?
Batman.
Yeah. I was thinking the same thing.
Could you pass the salt?
So Ryan and I got the full reign of the house. It's like Home Alone.
Yep, it is.
We got the dead weight that was holding us down is not here today. So
Yep.
So we can fly as high as we want.
They did it to themselves.
Well, and so Ryan is on one side of the table, like 15 feet away, and I'm on the other side of the table. So just picture that scene in Batman where they're having dinner in that gigantic room.
Having a nice, cozy date halfway across the world from one another.
Did you have trouble finding the house?
Such a great movie. He's
Do you like eating here? Oh yeah.
I don't think I've ever been in this room before.
Speaking of that, the greatest of all Batman, he's going to be in a new movie, revising the role.
Yeah, I heard
of Batman.
I heard that. I know no details of it.
All I saw was a YouTube clip from my son watching YouTube because he doesn't know what actual TV is.
Sure.
Like commercials offend him unless they're just little clips in the middle of whatever he's watching that suddenly just bleeps out, and then he learns about tough actin' Tinactin or something, whatever it is.
Yeah.
Whatever commercial is on YouTube. But he was watching something, and all of a sudden there was just this little how YouTube has their own version of TikTok where it's only 60 seconds.
Yeah, the YouTube Shorts.
It was that, but it was with the movie Flash.
Okay.
And then they cut to, the iconic Keaton.
Yeah.
Right?
Batman.
And he puts on the cowl, and you see you hear the music, the Tim Burton Batman music, which is a little different than everything else. It's like, oh, this is going to be spectacular.
So is that real, or is it? Did they do it for a goof?
No, it's real. It's almost like, did you see the Spider-Man movie, the new Spider-Man one?
Oh gosh, I was to a Spider-Man movie maybe like a year ago.
Okay.
It was the one that I was to. I went with Eli.
Okay.
So, and I don't follow. So the one that I went to was the one where they were in the multiverse.
Yes, that's the one I'm talking about.
Okay, that is the newest one.
So, yeah. And so you have this whole thing where the Spider-Man in the Marvel movies as we know them today ends up meeting all of the other Spider-Men from previous, the 90s Spider-Man and the 2000s Spider-Man. I guess there was 2 different trilogies or something. Yeah. I remember Tobey Maguire.
Tobey Maguire was one. I don't know the other guys.
And so it has those 2 other guys, and they're from other universes, and they get sucked into...
But they're all Spider-Man.
Just
from a different universe. So this is what this is going to be?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Because it's the Flash from the Justice League movie. And, you and I have kvetched about this before. I love DC. I love DC more than Marvel. I'm kind of a comic book nerd.
Yeah.
Kind of. I am the king of comic book nerds. But I don't like those movies. Yeah. I just think they're not doing it the way that I would do it. Let's just put it that way. So, Warner, if you want it done right, you can give me a call. I'm not leaving the church, but I'll help you out on a side gig or something.
Yep. Send anything you need edited to 4601 South University Drive, Fargo.
So I think they're doing the same thing with the Flash from the Justice League movies, and he goes back in time or something and ends up in the universe of the Michael Keaton Batman.
Okay. And he's what is he, 70? Yeah,
he'd be, I don't know what he is in the movie. They use movie magic and all that.
Right.
But yeah, he's got to be up there.
In real life. Yeah, I'd have to look it up.
He was at least in his 30s in the 90s, and that was 30 years ago. So
right. We don't have our fact checkers here to check things over while we're...
To Google it while we talk.
While we're going crazy.
Do you want me to look up how old is Michael Keaton?
Yeah, I am actually going to. But what I was going to say when you were talking about poor Dylan worried about commercials, can you imagine kids nowadays having to put up with what we put up with?
Oh, yeah.
Like if you didn't see it, you just didn't see it.
You go without. There's maybe if it's good enough, it'll end in syndication. You'll get to see it in like 5 or 10 years, but you won't care anymore.
Right. Or if they were on commercial and you had to go to the bathroom, and then it's like, to me, not being able to watch a football game live.
Exactly.
It's like, it's not the same.
That's the closest thing. If kids like watching sports in real time,
yeah,
it's that's what TV used to be.
Yep.
For everything.
Yeah. Yep. The only difference is with sports, you can rewind it and watch it, or you can watch it. With us, you just didn't see it.
The closest thing is that he likes watching, there's a cartoon that he likes called Beyblade.
Okay.
And Beyblade's been around forever, so there's like 200 episodes of that show, and it just changes every couple of years. It's like Power Rangers. Remember Power Rangers?
Yeah. Oh yeah, Mighty Morphin. Yep.
There's like 50 different iterations of that show. They go for a year, whole new group. That's Beyblade.
Okay.
But the latest season is not on things like Netflix or any of the streaming services that he likes to watch. It's on regular TV, and we have YouTube TV.
Yeah, that's what we have too. Love it.
So that's the only one where he will like go to YouTube TV. I'm like, really? He goes, look up Beyblade. Do they have a new Beyblade out yet? Like he doesn't know when it's on TV in real time.
It doesn't matter.
No, it doesn't matter. He just looks for whenever there's a new episode.
Yeah.
If not, he'll just go to YouTube and look at random stuff that he finds interesting.
That's great. Michael Keaton is 71.
Really?
Yep. 71.
Doesn't look a day over 70.
No, he does not. So is there any like superhero type cartoons that are biblically based? Like, do they have the I don't even know what you would call it, a Torah League?
Torah League.
Joshua and Moses, and do they have anything like that?
So, gosh, I would say no, unless you're talking about the greatest superhero of all time, Larry Boy from VeggieTales.
VeggieTales, yeah.
Yes.
Yep.
What other superhero has plungers for ears?
So they don't have. That would be neat if they did.
They don't. But I will say one thing. There is a superhero that's actually Lutheran.
Okay, which one is this? Lex Luthor?
Captain Marvel. The original Captain Marvel, not Captain Marvel from the Marvel movies that everyone knows, but the original Captain Marvel, who's known today in DC Comics as Shazam.
Okay.
Billy Batson was created by a guy named C.C. Beck.
Okay.
And C.C. Beck learned the small catechism like all of us who went through confirmation.
Okay.
He was raised Lutheran. And it's interesting because one of the superpowers of the original Captain Marvel, who back in the day gave Superman a run for his money very early on in the comic book days, back in the 30s and 40s. Mm-hmm. Shazam, or Captain Marvel as he was known at that time, was the only comic book that surpassed Superman in sales.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yep.
I didn't know that.
And lo and behold, DC then sued Fawcett Comics, or Wiz Comics, that made Captain Marvel. Mm-hmm. And that lawsuit went on for like 2 decades, and they put him out of business, and then they bought the rights.
Sure.
So they bought Captain Marvel, but by that point, the copyright had gone into up for sale, and Marvel Comics purchased Captain Marvel.
Okay.
So for the longest time, even till this day, although they've now changed his name in DC Comics to Shazam, but it would always be like the power of Shazam would be on the outside, and then you could call the character Captain Marvel on the inside of the comic. But because they didn't own the copyright to that name, they couldn't put Captain Marvel on any of their stuff.
Okay.
So copyright is weird that way, where you can use it in certain circumstances, but not others. So
it's really like, I don't know. And then we'll just do it, and they'll let us know if we did something wrong.
Yes. And Billy Batson was an orphan who's was estranged also from his twin sister, and he's discovered by a kindly wizard named Shazam.
Okay.
And chosen because he's pure of heart to be Earth's mightiest mortal and the protector against the 7 enemies of man. Well, who are the 7 enemies of man? Interestingly enough, they have a biblical, or more accurately, a Christian themed background, like the 7 deadly sins.
Okay.
In the comics, were called the 7 enemies of man. So each one of those sins, gluttony, sloth, wrath, you name them,
yep.
Or, whatever, envy, all were like spirits that would go and cause all kinds of trouble. And so he was given the powers of the wizard Shazam, and Shazam's name was an acronym of 6 powerful beings from myth, except for one. So the name Shazam stands for Shazam. That's how you spell it.
Yep.
The powers are S stands for the wisdom of Solomon. Well, where does the wisdom of Solomon come from, kids?
From God.
From the one true God.
Yep.
Yeah. But then alongside that, he has the strength of Hercules, the stamina of Atlas, the power of Zeus, that's lightning, and flying and stuff, the courage of Achilles,
okay,
and the speed of Mercury. So he's just as strong as Superman. He's just as fast as the Flash. But his greatest power does not come from these mythical Greek gods and heroes. Achilles wasn't a god. He was a hero, a demigod. Was from the one true God.
Really?
Yeah, the wisdom of Solomon.
So did they use biblically based stories too, or was this just that's where it started in the 30s and 40s, and they did bring in biblical themes. Okay.
But it wasn't, I mean, it was a kid's comic book, and it was aimed at that.
Yeah.
And it's, they don't do really any of that stuff anymore, but that's kind of where it started, where it came from.
I think that'd be a really neat thing if somebody did something like that, like had a cartoon that would make it. I don't know how you do it without screwing it up, but you know what I'm saying.
Yeah, I do.
Because everybody, well, not everybody, because I don't, but I mean, people know who Peter Parker is, and they know all the powers that he has and everything he can do, and the same with Bruce Wayne, and like maybe if somebody made a cool cartoon like that,
yes,
then
you get kids plugged in,
get engaged
back like they used to have Davy and Goliath back in the day. Mm-hmm. The claymation that was from the Lutheran Church in America, if anyone was wondering. And the opening of Davy and Goliath began with the song "A Mighty Fortress Is Our God," just the tune on an organ.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
That was the height of Lutheran culture in America. Davy and Goliath.
Huh. So, I didn't know that.
Yeah. No, I agree with you completely. I think that would be a neat thing.
Yeah. I'm not watching The Chosen, but people love that show, and I should.
I am one of those people that love The Chosen. It's so well done.
So is it like that where, I mean, obviously you want to read your Bible, you want to get into the Bible, but if there are the people out there, and it seems to be getting more and more, I hate reading, I don't want to read. Like if you didn't read, if somebody all they had was The Chosen,
yep,
would they be on a pretty good path of understanding the Bible?
I think they do. Yeah, actually I do. There's certain things that they have done on that show that I've seen. I've only seen the first 2 seasons. They're scheduled, like it's planned out to be 7 seasons.
Okay.
So, and I have no doubt they're going to get all 7 done. I mean, it's that well done. And so the whole storyline has already been basically mapped out by the director and so on. And the actor that they have, especially who plays Jesus, is phenomenal. Mm-hmm. He is so good. And it's a take on Jesus that, if you're coming into the Bible and your understanding of Jesus comes from like The Greatest Story Ever Told, a movie from the 1960s that starred Ming the Merciless as Jesus.
Yeah.
The same actor who played in Flash Gordon played Ming the Merciless was Jesus in The Greatest Story Ever Told. Did you know that?
No.
Okay. So I like goofy old movies like that. My kids can't stand Flash Gordon, but every time Ming comes on there, I'm like, Did you know, kids? He's a horrible guy in this movie, but he's the Lord in The Greatest Story Ever Told. But in all those movies, Jesus is played so seriously.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
That it misses the humanity piece of Jesus. And I think, in my opinion, The Chosen is really good about balancing that. And that makes Jesus much more approachable, especially for someone who may not know Jesus as by faith, already. Yeah. Growing up in the church, I've always had a relationship with my Lord. And so to see a movie where he's more like how I think of him being,
right,
much more understanding, much more down to earth. Not that he wasn't understanding in those other movies, but he was so, I think, unapproachable.
Well, it was so serious. Like, I think of Jesus of Nazareth. Remember that one? That one must have been made. Was that made in like the 70s? Or was it even earlier than that? But it's just so serious. And and
not to say that the gospel is serious.
Yeah.
But the gospel is like life. I mean, Jesus lived.
Well, it's not that it shouldn't be serious. It should be. But when you're trying to entertain, you got to have more dimensions than just one.
Well, and Jesus is perfect, but Jesus is also human, and even our understanding of perfection may not be what the Bible is expressing as perfection, because perfection doesn't mean without any bumps or bruises. I mean, you can't be human and not have bumps or bruises, right? Yeah. But perfection in the Bible means fulfill, like completed, run the race, brought to the finish line. And that's, Jesus is completely human in that sense.
Yeah.
Perfectly human in that sense, whereas we are not, because we're sinners. It's very funny in fun ways too, because it's a lot of it is from the perspective of the apostles, the disciples.
Oh, okay.
Rather than just Jesus. I mean,
well, and can you imagine being in that?
Right.
Like we've been talking about this a lot lately, like me trying to put my head into that person's brain, like, whatever the situation is. But if you're just hanging out and like you're fishing, right? You're over here by the Convent Road dock just fishing,
right? And
here you're not catching anything all day, and here comes this guy that says, throw a net in there and see what you come up with,
right?
Like what?
No,
it just blow your brain.
No offense to you, teacher, but I've been doing this all night, and there's no fish, and they don't come out in the morning,
there's nothing here,
and the look on Jesus' face is like, just a little nudge of the head. Go ahead. Just over there. Give it a shot. Like a twinkle in his eye.
If you read the Bible though, and you think about it in that way, and you think about the context and what's going on in that situation, sometimes it's really funny.
Oh, totally.
There's things that are said that are just hilarious.
Yes.
Like we've talked about before about Moses having to go back up the mountain with his tail between his legs, and God redoes the tablets and says, the tablets that you broke.
Right. Or your people, Moses, who did these things.
Yeah. So there's funny things there. And yes, it needs to be serious. But my question was, people love it, and I hear people say, "Oh, you gotta watch it," and I'm going to eventually. I'm a binge guy. Like, what season are they on?
They're on season 3.
Okay, so
and I've been. It's not a lot of episodes. Like the first season, I think it's either 10 or 8 episodes. The second season is 8 episodes, so it's not a lot of episodes, but
sure. Well, like for Stranger Things, for instance.
Yeah.
I binged that to get caught up.
Oh, nice.
And then it went into COVID season, and they never, now there's more seasons up, but now I don't care.
Right, right.
So
I'm not going to go back and watch them to get caught up again.
Right. So I could see myself with The Chosen. Okay, season 6 is over. I'm going to get caught up. I'm going to watch these live when they come out. You know
right.
what I mean?
That's right.
So,
let's see. Am I in the right one?
I don't know what you're looking for.
Oh, okay. I wanted to share something that's funny with you, and it's one of the most confusing verses in the Gospels because of what's said. And if you read it as Jesus being the straight guy, you're going to not understand it. But if you read it with an understanding that Jesus is using a very powerful weapon called satire, it changes the entire mood of the story. So I'm going to read the story to you real quick.
Okay, you hold that thought.
Yeah.
I'll be right back.
All right, sounds good.